The stars drifted slowly in the black sky, quiet and endless. In that silence, an old ship moved like a lonely ghost. Its name was Vigilant Hope. The ship didn't shine. Its metal body was covered in scratches and dents. Some parts had rust. One side had burn marks from an old battle. It looked forgotten, like it had been dragged out of a junkyard and sent back into space. But Captain Dean sat calmly in the command chair. His hands moved across the controls with slow confidence. His eyes, sharp and gray, watched the radar screen without blinking. He wasn't worried. Not yet. Behind him, a quiet hum filled the bridge. It came from the heart of the ship, a hidden engine powered by Earth's old war technology. It wasn't fast, but it was clever, and that was all Dean needed. He leaned back and looked out the wide window in front of him. The stars were beautiful here, in the quiet zones beyond the main trade routes, but he knew peace like this never lasted. Not when the Virex Dominion ruled these skies. A soft beep broke the silence. "Contact," the ship's AI said in a calm female voice. 2 Dominion patrol ships entering range. Class, medium scouts, weapons, armed, shields, standard. Dean didn't move. "Let them see us," he said. Far away, on a large and modern warship named Iron Claw, Captain Jorah stood in front of a massive screen. Her armor was polished, her horns curved backward like a crown. She was a high-ranking officer of the Virex Dominion, proud, sharp, and known for crushing her enemies fast. The screen showed Vigilant Hope moving slowly through their territory. Her second-in-command laughed. "Is that a human ship?" "It looks like flying scrap," Jorah said, smirking. "What are the humans even doing here?" She tapped her screen. The ship's information showed up. Vigilant Hope, model, Earth Series 7. Last seen, 40 years ago. That's an antique. Everyone on the bridge laughed. Jorah opened a direct channel to the ship. Her face appeared on Dean's screen, confident, mocking. "Human captain," she said. "You've entered Virex space in a ship that belongs in a museum. You have 5 minutes to leave, or we'll turn that rust bucket into ash." Dean blinked slowly. He didn't look afraid. He didn't even answer right away. Then he pressed a button and sent a reply. His voice was calm, low. "Captain Jorah, your arrogance is showing. I suggest you leave me alone." Her smirk faded. "Is that a threat, human?" Dean shrugged. "Just a warning." The channel closed. On board Vigilant Hope. The lights flickered slightly, then stabilized. Dean looked over at the AI display. The ship's systems were ready, though they looked old. What no one knew was that inside this rusty shell were upgrades no alien had ever seen. Earth had fought terrible wars in the past, wars where humans had no choice but to fight smarter, not harder. They built ships that tricked sensors, turned debris into weapons, and used old metal with new brains. Vigilant Hope was one of those ships. "Are the weapons online?" Dean asked. "Yes," said the AI. "Stealth pulse cannon charged. Emergency. Thrusters ready. Shall we begin, Captain?" Dean smiled just a little. "Not yet." Captain Jorah watched as her 2 scout ships moved toward the human ship. "Stun it if you must," she said coldly. "Bring me the captain. I want to ask him what he's doing with that flying trash can." The scouts flew in fast. Their lights blinked red, their weapons charged. But then something strange happened. As they came close, Vigilant Hope didn't run. It didn't turn. It vanished. "Where did it go?" one of the scout pilots shouted. Before they could react, a burst of energy shot from the left. One scout exploded into pieces. "Pull back! Pull back!" The second scout tried to escape, but a sharp blue beam sliced through its center. It cracked open and vanished into the dark. On the Iron Claw, alarms rang out. Jorah's face turned hard. What was that? Her crew scrambled to find answers, but there were none. The human ship had just taken out 2 of their patrols in seconds. No warnings, no damage. Just clean, fast destruction. "Trace its energy signature," Jorah shouted. "Now!" But the ship was gone. Back on Vigilant Hope, Dean watched the screen fade back to black. His fingers tapped the edge of his chair. Calm, precise. That should buy us some time, he whispered. The AI spoke again. Captain, incoming message from the Dominion flagship. Let's hear it. Jorah's voice came through again. No more laughter. No more jokes. Human, she said, cold and sharp. You've made a mistake. That was only a patrol. Now you face the full power of the Virex. Dean didn't answer. He just turned off the screen. Then he stood up and walked to the back of the bridge. Behind a sealed door was a small chamber with 3 items. A long coat, a handheld relic from Earth's last war, and an old photo of him, his old crew, and a younger version of the ship. He looked at the photo for a moment. I told them not to underestimate us, he said softly. The AI's voice returned. Multiple enemy signatures detected. A large fleet is approaching. Dean smiled again. Good, he said, and with that he returned to the command chair, sat down and said the words that would soon shake the galaxy. Let's show them what this old rust bucket can do. The stars around Vigilant Hope now felt darker, heavier. Captain Dean sat quietly at the center of his ship, watching the tactical display. Red dots were appearing, slowly at first, then more and more. Each red dot was a warship, and they were all coming for him. Enemy fleet count, 17 ships, the AI reported. Flagship Ironclaws leading. Estimated time to arrival, 15 minutes. Dean didn't panic. Instead, he reached for a small metal mug and took a sip of his cold coffee. The mug had scratches and an old Earth emblem on the side. Just like the ship, it had history. They sent the whole hunting party, he said. Yes, Captain, the AI replied. The Dominion is taking this personally. Dean leaned forward and tapped a few controls. The star map shifted, he began, marking points in space, setting silent commands for mines, probes, and countermeasures hidden in the area. Let's give them a warm welcome, he muttered. On the bridge of Iron Claw, Captain Jorah stood in front of a full wall screen. It showed her fleet flying in perfect formation, like a swarm of silver blades cutting through the stars. Her anger was still fresh. 2 patrol ships destroyed. By a human ship that looked like scrap metal? It didn't make sense. But Jorah wasn't here to understand. She was here to erase the mistake. Ready all ships, she ordered. Spread the word, no survivors. I want the human alive, but I don't mind if his ship comes back in pieces. Her officers nodded. The fleet moved forward with deadly speed. Meanwhile, inside Vigilant Hope, the ship's systems were alive with quiet activity. Drones deployed silently from hidden panels. Old, Earth-designed stealth mines floated out like tiny stars, locking into positions along expected enemy paths. Dean sat back and studied the screen. His face was calm, but inside, he was fully focused. This was no simple fight. This was a challenge from a powerful enemy, and that meant he needed to fight smarter, not stronger. The AI interrupted. Incoming signal from Ironclaw. Do you wish to receive it? Dean thought for a moment, then nodded. Jorah's voice came through. Her tone was cold, sharp, and proud. Captain Dean of Earth, this is your final warning. Power down your ship, surrender yourself, and we will spare your life. You've had your moment. Now it ends. Dean looked at the speaker, then smiled softly. You had your warning too, Captain Jorah. You ignored it. He cut the signal. The fleet closed in. Jorah's ships formed an arc to surround Vigilant Hope from all directions. But Dean wasn't waiting. As the first Dominion ship moved closer, a hidden mine detonated beneath it. The blast ripped through its shields and engines. The ship spun out of control. Minefield, one officer shouted on the Iron Claw bridge. Where did they come from? We scanned the area. Nothing was there. Jorah's eyes narrowed. He planned this. Another mine exploded. Then another. 2 more Dominion ships were hit. One crippled, one destroyed completely. Change formation, Jorah shouted. Spread out. Don't follow straight paths. It was too late for some. Dean had placed the mines in patterns that made escape difficult. The Virex fleet was large, but now it was bleeding. Inside Vigilant Hope, Dean watched the red dots flash on the screen, some blinking out, some turning yellow, meaning disabled. Got them dancing, he said. Yes, Captain, their formation is breaking. Shall I engage active weapons? The AI asked. Dean nodded once. Start with light disruptors. I want confusion before fire. The AI activated the ship's front weapons. Beams of soft blue light shot into space, striking Dominion ships just enough to cause shield failures and sensor errors. Soon, the Dominion fleet was not just damaged but blind. They're using jamming tech, one Dominion officer cried. We can't locate the human ship. Captain Jorah clenched her fists. Everything about this felt wrong. She had come to crush a week-old ship. Now her fleet was in chaos. This isn't normal human tech, she muttered. How is he doing this? She paced the bridge, thinking. Then an idea hit her. He's using old war tech, human tricks from the Terran resistance days. Should we fall back? Her second-in-command asked quietly. Jorah stopped and glared. At him. No. We're Virex. We don't run from rust. She opened all channels. To the entire fleet. Switch to manual tracking. Use visual scanners. Prepare close-range weapons. We're not playing his game anymore. Dean could hear their comms. His ship was listening quietly from the shadows. They're getting smart, he said. They'll switch tactics soon, the AI replied. Then we adapt too. Dean stood, up and stretched. Time to remind them this ship may be old, but it was built in a time when Earth had to survive alone. He activated the next phase of his plan. Vigilant Hope powered up its main cannon, an ancient weapon hidden deep inside its lower hull. Once, during Earth's worst war, it was called the Hammer. It had only one charge, but that was enough. Dean aimed it carefully. Target, Dominion support cruiser. Locked, the AI said. Fire. A silent white light flashed. No sound, no warning. Then the cruiser exploded. Not just damaged, gone. The remaining ships fell into panic. They scattered, unsure where the attack had come from. On Ironclaw, Jorah could feel the weight of the battle turning. 5 ships lost, 2 more out of control. Her people were confused and afraid, and worst of all, no one could see the enemy. She forced herself to stay calm. She couldn't let one human outsmart her, but inside she knew something was wrong. He wasn't just fighting back, he was in control. She opened a secure line to the fleet. Focus. He's one ship. We are many. Don't let fear guide you. Find him. End him. But deep down, even she was beginning to doubt. Inside Vigilant Hope, Dean lowered his hands. The battlefield was quiet for a moment. Ships floated, broken. Others drifted without power. He could leave now, but he wouldn't. Not yet. This is only the beginning, he said softly. The AI replied, They will return. Dean looked out at the stars again. Then we'll be ready. The battlefield was silent now. Metal floated in space, pieces of broken Dominion ships drifting like lifeless leaves in the wind. The stars above looked calm again, but danger still lingered. Inside the Vigilant Hope, Captain Dean checked the radar damage report, he asked quietly. The ship's AI answered. Minor shield burn on left wing. Hull integrity at 93%. No serious damage. All weapons ready. Dean nodded. They'll come again. This time they'll be angry and careful. He knew Captain Jorah wasn't done. She had pride, and people like her didn't accept defeat easily. He also knew she wouldn't make the same mistake twice. She'll come for blood, Dean said. Let's move. The old ship turned, slowly at first, then picked up speed. Dean set a course through a nearby asteroid field, thick, dark, and perfect for hiding. It was time to become the hunter now. Back on the Ironclaw, Jorah stood over her navigation screen. Her sharp eyes studied every detail, every blip, every shadow in space. Her face was tight with frustration. 7 ships lost, 5 more damaged, and one old human ship had done it all. This makes no sense, she muttered. Her second-in-command looked nervous. Should we call for reinforcements? No, she snapped. I'm not letting the rest of the galaxy hear that one man humiliated us. We finish this ourselves. She brought up a map of the sector. The human ship was gone, but she guessed where he would go. "There," she said, pointing to the asteroid field. "He's hiding in there." She turned to her crew. "We hunt him down, ship by ship if we must." Inside the asteroid field, Vigilant Hope drifted silently between massive floating rocks. Some were as large as cities, others were only the size of trucks, but all of them provided cover. Dean used the ship's quiet engines to glide between shadows. No lights, no sound, just patience. He had once trained for this, long ago, during Earth's final wars. Back then, human ships couldn't win in open battles. They had to become ghosts, strike fast, disappear faster. And now he was teaching the same lesson to the Dominion. Enemy signals entering the field, the AI reported. 5 ships, scanning slowly. Dean smiled. Let's give them a little scare. He activated a nearby probe. It floated away from Vigilant Hope, carrying a heat signal to mimic a ship's engine. One of the Dominion ships followed the false signal. When it reached the wrong rock, Dean fired a short-range pulse cannon. The ship's engine exploded. Another victory. Another warning. The other 4 Dominion ships paused. "They're confused," the AI said. "Good," Dean whispered. "Fear is our weapon now." Captain Jorah gritted her teeth as another ship was lost. "This is madness," one officer said. "We can't see him, we can't even track him." "He's playing with us," another muttered. "Like a predator." Jorah slammed her fist on the console. "I don't care what tricks he uses. We are the Dominion. We don't." "Run." But even her voice trembled a little. She had faced many enemies, but never one that vanished into the dark and attacked like a ghost. She ordered her fleet to slow down and spread wide, searching carefully through the asteroid belt. But Dean was already 2 steps ahead. Dean moved through a narrow gap between rocks, watching the enemy carefully. He wasn't just hiding, he was learning. He studied their patterns, their speeds, their timing. Every move they made, he remembered. "They're using classic Dominion search tactics," he said. "Big mistake." The AI replied, "Would you like to disable another?" Dean nodded. "Let's choose the leader this time." He targeted the command ship leading the scout group. A soft hum filled the bridge as a precision EMP weapon activated. 3 seconds later, the Dominion command ship went dark. Lights off, engines off, spinning in space. Dean didn't even need to destroy it. He just let it drift. One more lesson. In fear. On the Iron Claw, Jorah stared at the screen in disbelief. Her search party was vanishing, one by one. "No more games," she said. "Pull everyone back. Prepare the full fleet. We flush him out with brute force." Her officers obeyed. But Dean heard everything. Vigilant Hope was listening. "They're coming full force now," the AI said. Dean didn't panic. He adjusted the ship's course again, setting it deeper into the field. Then he laid down more traps. Old Earth tech, quiet bombs, signal jammers, and timed fake echoes. He wasn't trying to win in one strike anymore. He was bleeding them dry. As hours passed, the asteroid field became a graveyard. Dominion ships flew in and never came out. Some exploded. Some floated dead. Some just vanished. But Vigilant Hope kept moving. Captain Dean never raised his voice. He never rushed. He hunted. Later, in a quiet moment, Dean sat back in his chair. He looked at an old photo taped to the console. His old crew, his lost family. All gone now, but their training, their dreams, their sacrifice lived on in this ship, in him. "This isn't just a fight," he said softly. "It's a message," the AI replied. "To whom?" "To everyone who thinks humans are weak." He looked out into the darkness. "And to those who forget what survival really means." Captain Jorah finally pulled her remaining ships out of the asteroid field. Half her fleet was gone. Her pride was shattered. She sat alone in her quarters, looking at the stars. "How did it come to this?" she whispered. No one answered. Outside, Vigilant Hope floated in silence, watching, waiting. The silence after the battle was thick and heavy. Inside Vigilant Hope, Captain Dean stood quietly at the command console, his eyes focused on the star map. He wasn't smiling. Not yet. He knew Captain Jorah would return, and this time, she would bring everything. "She won't let this go," Dean said. "Her pride won't allow her to retreat." The AI responded, "Based on Dominion protocol, she will now attempt a trap. Likely bait. Likely desperate." Dean slowly nodded. "Then let's walk into her trap and spring our own." Across space aboard the heavily damaged Iron Claw, Captain Jorah sat with her officers. Her face looked pale but determined. The defeat in the asteroid field was a deep wound, but her will remained strong. "We've underestimated him," she admitted, her voice quiet. "He's not just a pilot, he's a tactician, possibly former Terran Special Forces." Her second-in-command frowned. "Then what do we do now?" Jorah leaned forward. "We give him a chance to strike, and make sure that strike costs him everything." She brought up a map and tapped a location. Outpost 9 Delta, a lonely Dominion supply post sitting on the edge of a star cluster. It looked unprotected, exposed. Perfect bait. We'll leak its position, just enough to make him believe we're weak. Then we hide our ships in the nearby magnetic field. When he comes close, we shut the net. The officers nodded. It was risky, but it was the best plan they had left. A few hours later, deep in the void, Vigilant Hope received the signal. The AI reported, "Dominion broadcast detected. Outpost 9 Delta's location revealed. No escort ships reported. It appears unguarded." Dean narrowed his eyes. "It's a trap," he said instantly. "Too easy. Too obvious. Shall we avoid it?" the AI asked. Dean shook his head. "No. We'll go in." He stood up from his chair and walked to the side wall of the ship, where a panel slid open to reveal old Earth war maps and tools. "Set a course, slow and quiet, and prepare the next set of surprises." Captain Jorah waited near the magnetic field, hidden inside a cloaked battlecruiser. Around her, a dozen Dominion ships floated quiet and unseen. They had shut off their major engines and weapons, making their energy signatures hard to detect. "All ships ready?" she asked. "Yes, Captain," her officer replied. "All units, in position. Once the human enters range, we trap him in a crossfire." Jorah stared at the starry view in front of her. "He won't escape this time," she whispered. "Even he can't outsmart a closed net." Hours passed. Then quietly, Vigilant Hope entered the outer edge of the star cluster. It glided like a ghost, slow and steady. Dean sat in his chair watching the screen. "No ships on radar," he said. "But that doesn't mean they're not here." He opened a hidden control panel and activated a series of micro-drones. They were shaped like dust particles, so small and silent that most sensors missed them. But they carried powerful data tools. The drones scattered silently into space, flying far ahead of Vigilant Hope, collecting invisible signs: heat, gravity shifts, magnetic signals, tiny electrical noise. A few minutes later, the AI spoke. "Confirmed. 12 hidden ships, all located within the magnetic cloud, ready to ambush." Dean nodded. So predictable. He opened a map and began drawing lines. Paths, traps, timing. "They set a trap for us," he said. "Now let's turn it against them." The Vigilant Hope didn't change course. It kept heading toward Outpost 9 Delta, as if nothing was wrong. To Jorah, watching from a hidden spot, it looked like the human had fallen into the bait. She smiled for the first time in days. "He's coming," she whispered. "Ready all weapons," her officer said. "Wait until he's in the center. Then, attack from all sides." But Dean was already moving. At the exact moment the Dominion fleet began powering up, Vigilant Hope launched dozens of sensor flares into the magnetic field. The flares exploded in bursts of white energy, lighting up every hidden ship. Jorah's trap was revealed. At the same time, Dean turned his ship sharply and released a string of small energy bombs he had planted days before. The entire space zone was now a minefield. 3 Dominion ships were hit instantly. Fire exploded across the field. "Shields up," Jorah shouted, but confusion spread. Dominion ships turned on engines too quickly, bumping into each other. One ship fired too soon. Another turned the wrong way. Chaos erupted. Dean didn't aim to win the battle with one strike. He aimed to break their rhythm. "Now," he said, "bring out the real gift." The AI activated Vigilant Hope's special weapon, an Earth-made scrambler pulse designed to jam all Dominion tech for 60 seconds. The pulse spread like a wave. Lights flickered across every Dominion ship. Weapons powered down. Navigation screens glitched. Communications failed. In that moment of silence, Dean moved. Vigilant Hope dashed through the confused fleet, dodging debris and broken lasers. It fired precise blasts, hitting weak spots on the enemy ships, engines, power cores, shield junctions. Every shot mattered. No movement wasted. Inside the Iron Claw, Jorah was screaming. "We lost our systems. What is this? Why are the weapons dead?" "Scrambler tech," her officer cried. "Old human code. It's jamming everything." Jorah punched her console. "How? That's impossible. That tech was banned centuries ago." But Earth had kept its secrets. Outside, her fleet was falling apart. Vigilant Hope didn't stay long. After delivering the final blow to 2 more ships, Dean activated stealth drive and vanished into the nearby dust cloud. By the time Dominion systems came back online, he was gone. The space around Outpost 9 Delta was filled with wreckage, smoke, and disabled ships. Captain Jorah stood in silence. She had lost again. This time, in her own trap. Hours later, Dean rested inside his dimly lit bridge. The battle was over, but his face remained thoughtful. He wasn't celebrating. "I didn't destroy them all," he said, "but I made them think." The AI replied, "They will remember this day." Dean stared at the stars. "Good. Then maybe they'll stop thinking humans are weak." He reached for the old photo taped beside his controls again. "For Earth," he said softly. "For those who didn't get to see peace." Vigilant Hope turned away and disappeared into the star cluster, leaving behind a legend, 1 ship, 1 man against an armada. Days passed after the trap at Outpost 9 Delta. The battlefield remained quiet, filled with floating metal, broken ships, and silence. The Dominion fleet had been scattered. Some ships were still drifting, waiting for rescue. Others had already been taken back for repairs. Captain Jorah sat alone on the damaged bridge of Iron Claw. Her crew moved slowly, some with bandages, others with tired eyes. The pride of the Dominion had been bruised. Deeply. She looked at the, empty screen in front of her, thinking of that one ship, the Vigilant Hope. The name echoed in her mind like a warning. "How did one human ship cause all this?" she whispered. No one answered. No one dared. She stood up and made a decision. This ends now. At the same time, Captain Dean stood on his ship, far away from the remains of the battle. His arms were crossed behind his back, and his eyes stared at the deep black sky. "Any signs of them?" he asked. The AI replied, "Tracking movement from the Dominion. 1 large ship, moving alone. Flagship Iron Claw. Estimated arrival, 3 hours." Dean gave a small nod. "She's coming herself," he said. "This time no tricks, just her and me." The AI paused. "Captain, odds are not in your favor. Her ship is larger, more powerful, and has stronger shields." Dean smiled slightly. "That didn't matter before. It won't matter now." He walked to the center of the bridge and sat down. "Let's finish this." Captain Jorah knew her. Ship was damaged. Her weapons weren't at full strength, her shields were weak. But she also knew the human ship wasn't fresh either. It had fought too many battles in the past few days. This would be a final test. 1 ship against another. As Iron Claw approached the marked zone, an open region of space with no hiding places, Jorah opened a secure communication channel. She wanted him to hear her. "Human," her voice said across space. "This is your last stand. You've caused enough damage. I offer you a chance. Surrender now." I promise you will be treated fairly." Inside Vigilant Hope, Dean listened quietly. He replied with calm words, "Captain Jorah, you already had your chance. You mocked my ship, you chased me through the stars, and you ignored every warning. There's no surrender now." A pause. Then Dean added, "I didn't come here to survive. I came here to make you remember us." The two ships faced each other, in open space. No cover, no allies, no running. Captain Dean locked his seatbelt and powered up all systems. Lights blinked across the console. The ship hummed old and strong. The AI said, "All weapons ready. Shields at maximum. Power level stable." Dean leaned forward. "Then let's dance." Captain Jorah's eyes were sharp. Her hands moved fast. "Fire. All forward weapons." Laser blasts shot from Iron Claw, bright and deadly. They rushed through space like fire arrows. But Vigilant Hope moved faster than expected. The rusty ship twisted left, engines burning hot. Most blasts missed. Dean returned fire. Focused, short bursts that hit Iron Claw's left engine. Sparks flew inside Jorah's ship. She held her ground. "Keep pressure. Don't let him breathe." For 20 minutes, the two ships exchanged fire. Each attack shook them. Each counterattack burned their shields. Inside Vigilant Hope, alarms rang. Dean's ship had taken damage. Panels cracked. A small fire started near the rear, but he kept going. He spoke calmly. "Redirect power from life support to weapons. We finish this now." The AI responded, "Warning, oxygen levels will drop." Dean didn't flinch. "Doesn't matter. One way or another, this ends here." Iron Claw fired another wave of blasts. One beam struck Vigilant Hope hard. The side hull cracked open slightly. Sparks flew. Dean was thrown from his seat but pulled himself back up. Blood dripped from his forehead, but he wiped it away and laughed softly. "She really wants me gone." The AI spoke. "Final weapon ready." Dean's eyes lit up. "The hammer?" "Yes, Captain. The hammer was the last secret. An ancient Terran weapon hidden deep inside Vigilant Hope. One blast, massive power, but only one use." Dean stood and looked at the targeting screen. "Is her core exposed?" "Not yet," the AI said. "But we have one chance. If we get close, under her belly, we can hit her from beneath." Dean smiled. "Then let's get close." Vigilant Hope turned sharply and rushed forward. Captain Jorah's eyes widened. "He's charging? Is he mad?" "Shields to full," she shouted. "Aim at his engines." But it was too late. Vigilant Hope slipped under Iron Claw, close. Too close for big weapons. The Dominion ship couldn't turn fast enough. Dean pressed the button. The hammer activated. A deep, shaking hum filled the bridge. Lights flickered. A long beam of pure white energy blasted from the ship straight into Iron Claw's underbelly. There was silence. Then, explosion. The blast tore through Iron Claw, cutting through armor, through floors, through engines. The massive ship shook and broke. Captain Jorah was thrown to the floor. "Damage report," she screamed. "Main core hit. Fire spreading. Shields offline. We're..." Before her officer could finish, the power went out. The ship stopped moving. In space, Iron Claw floated, dark, wounded, broken. Inside Vigilant Hope, everything was quiet now. Smoke filled the air. Sparks fell from the ceiling. Dean coughed and pulled off his seatbelt. "Is she alive?" he asked. The AI answered, "Yes. Life signs detected, but ship disabled." Dean stood, still bleeding, still strong. He opened the comm channel one last time. Captain Jorah appeared on screen, face burned, eyes full of disbelief. You destroyed my ship." Dean looked straight at her. "No, Captain. You destroyed your own ship. When you underestimated a man who never gave up." Jorah stared at him, defeated. "What now?" Dean didn't smile. He simply said, "Now you go home, and you tell them this. Rust doesn't mean useless, and humans never forget." He closed the channel. Hours later, Dominion rescue ships arrived and pulled Ironclaw's survivors from the wreckage. They asked Jorah what happened. She answered quietly, "A rusty old ship reminded us of fear." Captain Dean floated in space aboard his damaged vessel. Vigilant Hope was almost done, but it was still flying. The AI spoke gently. "Ship survival at 12%. Shall we return to Earth?" Dean looked out at the stars. "No," he said. "Let's disappear again. Maybe one day the galaxy will forget this battle, but they'll always remember the name of this ship." The AI asked, "What name shall we record in history?" Dean smiled, closing his eyes. "Hope." And, with that, Vigilant Hope faded into the dark.